Well, good evening. I call the meeting of the former Monmouth Academy Zoning Committee order. First item is acceptance of the minutes from our July 8th meeting. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, or do we want to have a motion to accept them as presented?
I move that we accept the minutes as written.
We have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Lori? Did you raise your hand? Was that the little hand that I saw?
She on you?
Yes, I am voting yes.
Thank you, Lori. All right, and it's accepted as written. Next item is project status. Did pass out budget to show that we've got paid to date. $1,455,563.28. So that leaves in the original budget, 308,000. No, I'm sorry, that leaves 300, remaining phase one budget is 319,436. So that's what we have left for currently for finishing phase one. Do you have any status information you want to share?
What came about with all of the town politics of that second meeting that you went to?
They just left us alone essentially. After creating havoc and upset stomach and sleepless nights.
Content.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been tabled.
Which means we'll just keep moving along. So,
They stopped you.
yeah,
Exactly.
or we run out
That's
of
good.
money, so. And Steve Brown caused all kinds of problems.
Did you hear about that?
Did you hear about that?
No, what did I do?
So essentially, Steve Kalinda has nothing better to do than to go back and watch hours of YouTube videos. And he's like, well, I had asked a question about when you knew this was a problem and when you weren't gonna, that the budget wasn't gonna allow you to do what you wanted. And I found on October blah, 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 2022, one of the members said that the project was in trouble. So I'm like, none of us remembered that, so I went
The
back.
project was in trouble?
And
That
then,
was-
so I
that
went
was
back,
his
like
translation.
2 days later,
Yeah,
2 days later, I went back and I found that YouTube video and went on, because I wanted to know what was said, because we all.
He
talk-
remembered.
Well,
No, I didn't
actually, you
remember.
weren't here. You weren't there. The only people that were at the meeting were you, Dawn,
yeah.
and me.
Oh,
And you said like in a general thing, like the project's in trouble, like every other project out there. And it was just like this.
like every other project, okay.
Like every other project out there, because of what we were encountering
Yeah.
with
Price increases.
price increases.
Yeah,
And it was like this,
Nobody to do the work.
and
yeah.
and so it was like this passing statement that you made. And I said, well, who made the comment? Or Dr. Bougie
Yeah,
asked, who made the comment? He's like, I don't know who that person is. He sits at that end of the
Sits at that end
table.
of the
And I'm
table.
like, it was you. And I'm like, oh gee.
Oh,
And I'm like, what did Steve Brown say? I know what Steve Brown
I
would like to
apologize, I
say.
guess.
That's okay.
No, but apparently he didn't go on to watch the rest of them where we made adjustments, where
Oh,
we
yeah,
started cutting. He just
exactly.
ignored all that.
Well, no,
It made it
because
sound like we just said, well, we'll just keep on going.
you just interpret things the way you want to interpret
Yeah.
them for your purposes, and that's
Yeah.
what happened. I mean, it was just like this passing comment about, we're all in trouble if you're trying to, build a doghouse or build a house, a house for a human,
Yeah.
we're all in trouble. So,
Construction costs were going crazy at that time. Everything was
Exactly.
Spiraling.
Awful.
yeah,
And trying to get pricing. Remember how long it took him to get the
Oh, yeah.
project budget pulled together?
And,
We just couldn't find anybody.
Yeah,
we didn't know anything at that point in time. We didn't know what we didn't know because we hadn't even
yeah.
been over there
Right.
yet. We didn't even
22,
know
I
what
mean,
was
they-
going on.
They just had, next to no day, just arrived
Come on site.
on site.
Yeah. And started, pulling things apart. So, yeah.
Guess I keep my mouth shut.
Oh, no.
No, but it's okay, it is.
No, if,
It's
that
nature.
definitely was what it was, and it just was a mess, so
We got through it.
we did.
Here we are chugging along and.
Was it all helpful that Paul went to the first one? Do you think that was?
I mean, it was great to have somebody there other than me and other than me talking, because, and even at that last meeting, the fire chief got up and said, well, their doorways aren't even big enough. And it's like, so I just didn't even bother to tell him the fact that the reason the two doorways inside were smaller was because they built temporary supports to hold up the ginormous piece of granite over the winter time. I didn't even go there because if you go in there now, the doors aren't too narrow anymore because they've removed that.
They're 36 inches, I think, aren't they?
So, I mean, this whole thing just keeps, going on and on and on and on in the information.
Can I call you back?
Everybody wants everybody.
There's something going on.
My goodness.
Uh-huh.
We're all very popular today.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, let me give you-
So, it's just been such an interesting time.
Stressful.
It's been so
Yeah.
stressful and it's been.
Put so much time in on it.
Oh,
Really
yeah.
have.
Well, I
Yeah.
talked to Darren this morning about a few things. I guess, Jimmy Hopkins is gonna be coming in the next day or two to remove the excess concrete, foundations that stick out on the end.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
okay.
He's gonna remove those,
Mhm.
and I believe he's gonna grade up for the pad, for a pad outside the door.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So it sounds like, according to what Darren said, he's gonna do all that.
okay.
And, he's got the guy coming, the front steps are pretty well constructed. And he's got the guy supposed to be coming this week to take measurements for the handrails.
Mhm.
Oh, good,
So
okay.
that can go in progress.
Yeah,
Then they're doing a bunch of work inside. To remove, there's that one little section of flooring. That's above, right above the door as you go in. There's a section there that's gotta be removed and the joist extended across.
oh, right,
They're in the process, so they got a temporary support wall built to hold that up while they extend it across.
okay,
They're working on that.
okay. Yeah, what,
You mean the metal rail in the front?
The metal handrail, yes, uh-huh. That's supposed to be measured shortly. And they're continuing with, painting and various things like that as they go along. They've got a few more pieces of trim to fix and the masons are working on the door openings,
Okay.
getting those tooth out for the new door frames to fit properly.
Exterior.
Exterior
the
door
exterior
frames.
doors, yeah.
Yes,
We have 3 of them, 2.
two still to go.
Two still to go.
The one in midair out the
Yeah,
back
yeah.
is in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That one's all
We
in.
have the side door,
The one that's out downstairs,
okay,
they-
Yeah.
they're working on toothing that in.
oh, okay.
And then the main entranceway on this end, they're,
Are the original doors staying?
on the very
On
front.
the
The
front?
very front,
Yes, okay.
but the other ones are the
They're new metal doors,
little doors.
yeah.
But they don't look like metal, the way that.
Do they have
Yeah,
texture to
they're
them?
a very nice design.
It's, they're like 5-panel doors.
Oh, are they?
Horizontal 5
Horizontal, 5-panel
Yeah.
doors.
They're very old fashioned looking.
Yes,
Really?
yeah, you
Yes.
can see it on the Raken report. Let me see if I can bring it up. Visualize that. Should be able to.
Yeah, while you're doing that, the things that Steve had sent along that needed to be done in this phase is finish the fascia trim and soffit, finish painting exterior trim, some minor site work to smooth up grounds, install new doors, frames and hardware. Concrete entrance slab and piers, interior framing to close up basement and vestibule framing. reframe second floor framing at vestibule. Install ladder to second floor, steel handrail at the new front steps, lead coated copper on dome and flash new bell tower frame. Oh, those look nice. Look at that.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Those are very pretty doors
Yeah.
for a commercial type door.
Right.
Oh, gosh, yes, that is
Very nice.
wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I was
then
excited to see that because I didn't know what they were gonna look like.
just,
They're better than the plain old flat door.
yeah, exactly.
Show it to the
Yeah.
camera, Chris.
Then complete the bell
I don't know
tower and
where
sit
to
on the
look.
roof.
Can you, it's too.
The crane,
Closer,
install metal
closer,
brick repair
closer.
and door frames and install two.
But the back, go to your, yeah, good.
Basement windows are in.
Oh, that
Yeah,
looks
Darren
good.
showed Those being in.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And those doors are gonna be, as you go in the front door, there'll be doors into the
on
main
the-
entrance.
No, those are the side doors coming in on right here.
Okay.
Yeah, on either side of this. And
T, I guess you could
The
say.
1914 edition part.
Right.
Yeah.
those are gonna be nice, very nice.
Is there anything in there about, paper proofing and insulating in the basement? I think that's part of first phase, but
Don't see it listed. So vapor proofing,
yeah, they'll do a vapor barrier over the concrete in the basement and then the rock out back, probably a poured one, and then insulate the floor underneath, the first floor, just so that the cavity of the insulation will be that occupied
right,
space.
okay,
I believe that's part of the first phase scope,
okay.
but I would just verify with them.
Oh,
Would that be expensive to do that, the vapor?
No, I don't think so. There's probably a little bit more labor in the parts where it is the rocks, maybe. Just, but that's only in that back corner, well, I guess front corner, of the basement.
Do you want me to send a note out to Steve and confirm?
Unless it's already done and that's why it's not there, I'm not sure, I haven't heard anything about it.
I don't think it's done, because I was down in the basement this morning and I didn't
I
see
haven't
it.
heard anybody talk about it.
Is it blown-in insulation that they would use, or is it fiberglass, or?
Yeah, I guess it could depend. You could do foam board and fasten it, or if you did blown in or polyisocyanurate, you would have to do is like the foam stuff that expands.
Yeah.
Which is also really toxic, so we try not to use it.
Right.
But in a situation where we don't want to put, anything that's gonna fasten things to the underside, like putting a ceiling in the basement, that might be the best way to go. Otherwise, if we did blown in, or if we did bat or anything like that, we'd have to either strap underneath the joists or put a ceiling up, hold that in, so that'd be more expensive.
Well, we don't want anything toxic, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Cheap stuff always is.
Yeah.
But if we did like foam board between the joists,
Right,
that's probably the efficient way to do it. It wouldn't be continuous insulation, but you're not insulating directly against a frozen space anyways.
right.
It's a pretty marginal difference, not very marginal difference.
One thing that was brought up to me this morning, they were talking, I guess Steve Burton and Darren were talking about temporary heat sources to keep the building
Yeah,
tempered.
yeah,
And Steve Burton had suggested to him, rather than putting warm air furnaces, maybe put in a couple heat pumps.
oh,
I don't know, if that's a good idea or not, but I mean, they have a lot of advantages
yeah,
to
they
help
do.
dehumidify.
Absolutely, dehumidify and
Um,
for cooling and stuff.
I don't know, I don't have any idea what cost comparison would be versus an operational, down the road. I mean, heat pumps are kind of energy inefficient in the really cold months.
Yeah, they're
Sure.
really not designed for cold.
Yeah. But it would give you the ability for some air conditioning if you had heat pumps in there, but
Which would be nice, yeah.
There were no
technically the
plans for air
space isn't gonna
conditioning.
be occupied, so.
What's that?
Were there any plans for air conditioning in the building?
Well, there would be the three, you would have air exchange, which
Yes.
could cool the space, but it wouldn't be necessarily air conditioned, like it wouldn't be a mechanical conditioning.
Yeah, so I told him that I'd bring it up and we could put it out there to think about.
So who will be Chuck?
Probably the mechanical engineer. You guys had,
Lyle, I think, Matt Lyle.
yeah,
Would you have to have the unit on the outside of the building with tubing going up?
you'd have to have the condenser outside.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know what the pros and cons would be of that. So,
I don't know if be able to maintain the building above freezing though.
well, I
without
think
costing an arm and a leg.
we'd use a lot of electricity in the cold months.
Sure would.
You know, I would almost think that the forced air,
Yes,
uh,
combination.
gas-fired heaters would be, I'm guessing, more efficient. I don't know for sure.
Pumps aren't as good in big open
Yeah,
spaces as well.
exactly.
Yeah,
They struggle a lot to pull the air
to circulate it.
more volumetric spaces.
Mhm.
Um,
Plus,
so-
if you divide it up with rooms, you know, like the bathrooms and
Well, yeah, if it was all done and sheet rocked and everything like that, you could put some in some certain rooms and it would probably be fine, but you know, the big open area, I don't know as that would work well.
Yeah.
You know, we don't really need air conditioning, I don't think. We're mostly just gonna need heat
Hmm.
to keep it above freezing.
And he had said something about putting in two of the units, of the permanent units, instead of just the one, like we
Right.
originally thought we could get away with. Did he give you a price on that?
I haven't seen anything about that. Let's see, is it, you take the 291 currently.
Because even if it's more expensive, I mean, cost comparatively, if you're doing something temporary and then taking it out, putting in the permanent thing anyways, it's kind of like sinking costs.
Six one, half a dozen on the other.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think it makes more sense to put in the propane fired air handlers, because that's what ultimately would be in the building if we get to finish it.
Yeah.
One other issue that I saw today is that where the electrical entrance goes into the building in that corner there, there's a lot of water comes off that roof in that valley. Lands right in that corner, and there's a basement. Used to be a window that just has a plywood panel on it now. I'm a little nervous. We might need to take a look at doing something for drainage work there. Keep the water from building up high enough that it would go in
And
into the basement. I'm not sure
Which
what
wall
the
is
best
that
answer
on?
would be, but
which wall is that on?
it's the inside corner on this
On
side.
this side.
Yeah, where the electrical panels, the electrical meter and stuff, and the water goes, or there's a window there. What used to be a window that's got a plywood panel that the conduits go through.
Oh.
And, you know, the ground level is kind of low in that corner there. Or the pond water. And the trouble is, that's kind of the lowest place that's,
Right.
you can't even really do any ditching or anything to get it out of there. I don't know if the
Bring
option.
more water by doing ditching.
Well, yeah, you might, you know, I don't know if the answer would be, some underground pipe with an intake there to drain that water out to daylight someplace. Not sure what the best option would be.
you don't think a French drain would work or?
I don't think so, because there's probably enough groundwater in there now that there's nowhere for it to go.
Okay.
You know. I asked Darren to have Jimmy Hopkins look at it when he shows up and maybe give us his opinion on what he thinks. I mean,
Yeah.
that's his trade.
Right.
He might have a suggestion of something that would work there. You know, I just wanna curtail some bad problem down the road. We just don't want water running in the basement. We're trying to get the moisture out. Water running in the window don't help,
Right.
so.
He did say, Steve did say we could install just a hot air furnace temporarily for big savings, probably could save 20,000 plus. And sell it when you, instead of doing the two. That was
Yeah, I
his thought.
imagine the mechanical system would take up most of this remaining budget if we were to do the two. Probably half of it. Really, they're expensive, very expensive. Yeah, the units themselves are expensive, and then venting and distributing and stuff. If there's a temporary solution that does save money and it makes more sense to do something temporary, like if that.
Well, that's what he was
thing-
thinking, because then you can always turn around and sell it. You remove it and once we can do the mechanical, it's designed to be there. That was Steve's thought.
Yeah, I mean, from a construction management perspective, if he's comfortable like suggesting that as a cost savings, then I would trust him.
Just gotta figure out where we could look for one.
Yeah.
And if I'd have known, I would have saved the one I took out of. But
that
that
would-
was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. If
If
they'd
I'd
been
have
big enough,
known,
you'd need a pretty
pretty big size one.
probably a couple 100,000 BTU unit at least to take care of that big space.
Yeah, see what. See what.
I mean, it would seem that if you were gonna. It almost doesn't make sense to put in a temporary furnace instead of just putting in the permanent furnace. Unless that's. Way more expensive.
Well, like you were saying, if we're gonna. We have 300,000, about roughly 300,000 left to go.
Yeah,
Evidently, the mechanicals, even doing 2/3 of them, could take up half of that and. You know, we
it
still
seems
have
like
a
a lot,
left.
just. A furnace up there in the attic and blow it out into the space.
Matt had 3 gas furnaces, 60,000 BTU per hour input. 58,300 BTU per hour output.
And 3 of them, huh? Yeah, 180.
Got a dehumidifier in there, but there's no coolant.
Might be worth asking him if there's. What his thoughts would be just for, if he thinks one of those units would keep up,
They keep it, you know,
just to
what's
keep it
the,
50 degrees.
is that at all 50 or?
45, 50,
45, 50?
I would say. Trouble is, there's not gonna be. Did we have the budget for the insulation? In the exterior walls?
That isn't on the list. No, we're gonna have to,
So I don't think it's not gonna be insulated. So it would,
so we have,
other than the brick walls.
Thought they were gonna insulate but not drywall.
Yeah,
they
insulate, but
said
not
they had enough.
drywall.
I don't remember.
Insulate and
That's
dry.
my most recent memories. They were gonna
Nish.
put stuff up and
Yeah.
strap it and then
Yeah.
not drywall.
That would make it heat a whole lot easier, obviously.
Oh, yeah, if we could do the, yeah. Rock wall,
3 or 4 wide brick,
Yeah,
not very
not,
no,
efficient.
yeah.
let's see. Doesn't have any.
1 arc per inch, something like that for
155,000
masonry.
for the insulation,
Probably less.
drywall,
Concrete is
and
1, concrete's denser than brick. so
Yeah, something like that.
was 16.5 over budget. And does that 300,000 include what you've raised?
That's,
Without it, right, with,
We're up to 80,000.
because I'm up to.
no,
80.
oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta add that.
Yeah.
No, that is 319,000 from the money that we have,
Yeah.
including the 75,000.
Including, okay.
So that does include,
75, yeah.
If the insulation isn't in the budget, it might just be better to do that temporary furnace, but then also do the insulation with that savings.
right,
Because if you're putting in, $80,000, $100,000 of heating mechanical equipment, and it's not
Right,
efficient or functioning properly, then. But I can email Matt, and get his opinion on that.
Okay.
That would be great, yeah.
That would be awesome, because that's, that's the goal, is to keep it at least.
You could ask him about the heat pump situation, but I don't think the heat pumps would handle that. I don't think they make them big enough for that BTU load.
No, I don't think so. If ceiling was in the back, maybe one in the back
Mhm.
could do it, but as a whole with nothing in there, open space. up
Everything's
above,
all
yeah.
open.
16 feet. The volume's probably too much.
Yep.
Other scope or comments on what we've seen to date.
So if we are blowing heat into something that does not have insulation, are we blowing money out the door, so to speak? Because without any insulation,
Yeah.
and if we're putting heat in there, we're gonna be losing. A lot.
Exactly, yeah.
So
It's-
that's, somehow we have to find the money for the insulation.
What might be an option is to put you don't really need all the heat in the top floor. You need it down.
Right. Right,
down
because
in
heat
the
rises.
basement, don't you think? So the ground doesn't freeze and the walls don't move?
Have we ever figured out what the foundation looks like? Whatever. Doug, next is
Some of it's
Frost
stone,
wall,
some of it's stone,
brick.
some of it's brick on top. I was just wondering if you could if you did the temporary heater, you could just put it down in the basement and blow the heat in the basement.
Right,
You get some residual coming up through the floor. I'm not a
in
heating,
that case, you might not want to insulate
yeah,
the deck. Or
not yet,
just
anyway.
until
I don't know,
things progress.
just throwing out, spitballing ideas.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. The heat would go up.
Mhm.
Rather than trying to force it down.
Is there any contribution from Efficiency Maine, insulation and efficient furnaces as well?
I think you can get like tax credits and stuff depending on how efficient your machine is. It's gonna be rated a certain way. I know they do it a lot for solar stuff. But yeah, certain machines, I mean, even like washer dryers, you can get
Yeah.
small credits for if the machines are really efficient. So that's possible. I don't know what it would do for a commercial space, but I've seen it for houses.
Something that needs to be looked into.
With efficiency main, I mean, that basically, when I tried to talk with them, I was wanting to talk with them about what fuel systems are out there, like for Rangeley. And basically what people there, what they talk about are heat pumps.
They're great for houses,
So, yeah,
really, really good, really efficient. I don't think they'd help you much here.
no, right, well, that's what I'm saying, is that's what they're really focused on, what they're really interested in sharing.
And in the summer, if you do have a dehumidifier, you probably don't need air conditioning as much. Cause you keep it dry, it helps a lot.
Mhm.
When I was up here on that really hot day, you walk in that building and it's like,
Still cool.
oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, you got a lot of mass there, stays cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brick houses, brick buildings are something to be
Cold
said
in the
about
winter,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
Nice
Cold
in
winter,
nice in the
cool
summer,
the
but cold in the winter.
So,
Now, they put the insulation, but they can put like a plastic barrier over it before they put the,
On the
well, on
walls,
the, yeah, on the
floor,
walls.
The walls, yeah, they'll either strap it in with, the spurring strips, just like a 1x,
Yeah,
or they'll
but they'll have
staple it down. with plastic.
insulation and then some kind of a plastic vapor barrier or not?
No, you don't want a vapor barrier in a brick building,
Okay,
because the brick is porous and it breathes, so you don't want to trap that inside the wall system.
But the sheet rock doesn't trap it in or?
No, sheetrock's also porous.
Oh, good,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, that's why if you have a really old house, you actually don't, if you insulate it, because for an efficiency, you don't want to put up a wrapper of plastic of any
Okay.
kind. People will do it and then they'll get rot issues because the water will just sit inside the wall.
Yeah.
Because they breathe, old houses breathe.
Yeah, they do. They really move.
Yeah.
I did have on here, do we have any next steps that we're just kind of going by what?
Kind of rolling over.
Questions to follow up on.
So with the bell, I had a conversation, because we were putting in for that bell grant, I got in touch with Jonathan Taggart, who did the initial evaluation of that bell and went up in the thing with Steve, right?
Mhm.
And so he had a hip replacement when I first reached out to him, and now he's back. He's back working, and so I chatted with him about the bell. And because I knew we wanted somebody that knew something about that bell to give us an idea of what we should or shouldn't be doing with it. And again, you know, he's come out and said that. And Lori, I can email you this report so you'll have it.
Thank you.
Because I printed it off tonight. Because the way that that bell is attached to its yoke doesn't make you feel good about. I mean, I can show you the picture that is kind of disconcerting. Cause a bolt goes up through there and they just bent the bolt over on the yoke. And the way that the clapper is attached inside is not correct either. So, the big thing that Jonathan, we need to do for that bell is, to get the paint, the spray paint off of it and the spray paint off the yoke and attach the clapper correctly and attach it to the yoke correctly. And, then they'll put a wax on it because that bell is bronze.
Oh, is it?
And then once they clean it off, clean that spray paint off of it, they'll put a wax on it. And they don't recommend, you know, polishing it. It should just be left natural, but protected
With the wax.
with that wax. And I also included the pictures of the wheel in there because that wheel will need, I mean, Aaron's done an amazing job with the frame and with the dome, but I think the wheel is something that Jonathan knows probably more about. And I don't think that any of that exterior stuff had lead paint on it. Do you remember, Steve? I don't think any of that exterior stuff had lead paint on that.
On the bell itself?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't remember.
he said he'd test this to see if,
They-
I mean, it's so small.
He
It's such a
tested
small.
the wood framing and everything
Yeah.
around it, and that was all positive for lead paint, but I don't know if he tested the bell.
The bell or the wheel. I mean,
Or the wheel.
Jonathan is only really worried about whether there's lead paint on the wheel.
But I can't even guess that there's not lead paint on that wheel.
Yeah,
Right.
You know, as old as that is.
Yeah.
That was common practice back in the day.
exactly. So.
So if it is, it does have lead paint on it.
But it's not a lot required in that. It's pretty,
Hmm.
yeah. Priming and painting, exactly. He's got 4,800 in there.
Erosion removal.
Yeah. So. With that wheel, I mean, it's pretty. So in this picture, you can see that bolt on the top of the yoke.
So is this 8,800 his cost to do this?
Yeah.
That's.
So that's what we should be asking for? Or more?
I would put 10 in there.
Yeah.
I think 10 is pretty good, a good little buffer in there.
Oh, it's just pounded over.
So that's kind of an interesting,
Attachment.
Yeah,
yeah.
But
yeah, no, you can see it in this picture.
Is there a picture in there?
Yeah, there's a picture in here. of it.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So he does. Yeah.
Definitely has had some wear and tear over the
Yeah.
years.
Exactly. And the way that that clapper is attached isn't the right way either, so. But I mean, I think Jonathan's pretty conservative with how, what he's looking at on here. And, I mean, the wheel, there's a picture I took of the wheel at the house. Or in our barn, you know, so I don't. There's not a lot of,
that wooden
yeah, that's all wooden, hand fabricated,
is all intact.
yeah,
That's crazy, isn't
yeah. That wheel is actually pretty interesting. So,
Kind of wood.
He'd plan on reusing the same wheel.
yeah, I think so, and if there's any rot on it, he just would epoxy it. And do an epoxy treatment if there's any rot, from what he's saying in that, in the wheel.
Did you ask Jonathan about the rope coming through the ceiling there? I know they've had concerns about, water getting in there and causing damage, so
Yeah, and I asked Steve Burton about that. He had a whole plan.
he did have. a
Because,
plan.
yeah, because they've done it before. Steve Burton says they've done that before.
Okay,
Because
good.
it's like inside of a
PVC pipe or
pipe,
something.
and then they put like a.
Yeah, he had some sort of a plan. I'm not sure
Okay,
exactly
right,
what it was, but he
Exactly.
said.
So Steve Burton has a plan for the rope because he's done it before.
Okay, good, because I remember someone was concerned about,
About how the water
Yeah.
would come through there because it did.
Yeah. well, good, if they've got a
So,
plan.
yeah,
that's
Steve
great.
Burton said that he's done it before and handled that before, so I think that Nickerson and O'Day is good with the rope part,
Okay.
but it's
good.
just a matter of making sure that we take care of the bell correctly.
Yeah.
That was my only concern.
How did they do the, they redid all that up there? They have a
Well-
rope.
Yeah, I mean, the rope is the original rope.
Yeah,
Yeah, but ours, it's a pulley system, so it
Yeah.
doesn't come straight down, like this one comes straight
Right,
down.
yeah.
So rain, but this one, there's two pulleys that bring it to the side and then it comes down.
yeah. Yeah. And I think the rope. I have to look at how it is out there. Cause the way that rope came down, I think it comes down into. So isn't there came out into the vestibule,
Yes,
Right?
it does.
Yeah.
You can see the opening right up there
in the vestibule, so,
on the left side,
Yeah.
near the building.
yes, yeah. So, I know we talked about it with Steve Burton when we all met that morning out there.
He said he had a plan. I don't know what
Yeah.
it was, but he said. he
Yeah,
had a
and he said
plan.
he'd done it before and he was okay with it, so I think for me, the thing that I wanted to make sure is that we cleaned the bell off correctly and then preserved it correctly with this wax treatment that Jonathan's talking about, and, $8,800 isn't, considering what we've been through,
Right,
$8,800 isn't horrible.
Maybe we could raise that with fund, donation.
Exactly.
The epoxy will last how long? I mean, is that like 25 years or?
When the epoxy of the wood treatment, I think that what he's talking about, in the wheel. I read this
The open
this morning, so I
flap
don't
will clean the
remember.
rope.
everything.
The open
Chris?
flap-
Yeah.
How long does the wax treatment last?
It's,
Forever?
yeah, I
Okay,
think once we get that spray paint off the bell.
yeah. Okay,
the big thing, yeah, so.
That's good.
To recover the bell's original weathered patina, if necessary, the surface will be patinaed to an evenly weathered appearance appropriate for an older bell in an outdoor environment. Ideally, it should be adhered to the aged bronze surface that will be treated with a protective wax coating. Polishing the bell to a bright surface is not recommended. It's difficult to achieve and to maintain. So the yoke and the clapper, they use an air abrasive to clean it. Because that clapper is pitted, rusty,
Right.
and so is the yoke. And then they use, let's see, the wheel would be tested for the presence of lead. If lead is present, its removal will be undertaken using appropriate precautions. In the paint, the wheel will be evaluated for structural stability if needed. Weak or deteriorated areas will be epoxy consolidated to improve structural strength. The wheel will then be primed and painted, with white, obviously. So. And he said that they're kind of busy because he was down with this hip replacement, but he definitely thinks, he said in the email, he thinks he can get it taken care of this fall for us if we need it done this fall. So,
I would say we should.
and I think that wasn't the bell part of like the exterior
That's-
part, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
What about the weather vane?
weather vanes with Nickerson and O'Day.
They trying
And
to,
I think that they've done it from the pictures I've seen. Right, those pictures they sent down,
I haven't seen anything from them.
I think it was in those pictures that they sent.
In an email?
Yeah. Back, because they had it outside at the 4th of July kind of thing. They have that picture from that other, where they took the dome.
In Bangor.
Yeah. Yep.
I've been.
Yeah, take a peek at that one. Got the outdoor pictures of it outside with like the flag.
Yeah, for July 4th.
Because then he ended up having to have somebody else send it, so it's, might not be from him. So,
Ah.
if we search O'Day.
I don't have any memory of seeing pictures of the film, so.
I have to find it, and I hate using Outlook on my phone because I can't see everything.
It's that same email from July 11th. I got it.
Okay.
I'd love to see it,
Yeah, yeah,
but they were gonna remake the vein. They weren't gonna clean it, right?
they were
do
gonna
that,
clean it, yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I think they've done it, so.
Great.
yeah, a lot of talk about the bell tower, but I don't see anything, see any pictures.
Well, let me look, and I know there's something, and I have it, but using Outlook on my phone, it is awful. It's really hard to see in Outlook and find things. So when I'm on my desktop, I can
You can
see
see what's
everything
going
and
on,
I
right?
can see what's
Yeah.
attached. It's a pain in the butt, but I'll find that email and I'll send that out to you tonight, so. Cause it was, I know that the weather vane was in there,
Okay.
in those pictures.
So in, by looking at what Steve has said, that is, you know, setting the bell tower, getting that all done
Yeah.
as part of phase one.
So do you want me to tell Jonathan that we want to go ahead with this part and have him come grab the bell and start working on it? Okay, because I
Because it
I
says-
never want to say anything unless I
And I,
make sure I run it by everybody and
and I
say, let's
spoke
go.
because they complete bell tower and set on roof. So,
Okay,
you know,
all right.
that, the whole
So-
bell thing is,
Yeah, I'll tell Jonathan it's a go and I'll
Right.
organize with him and us
Yeah,
getting
just-
it onto his trailer
Mhm.
and we'll do that with Jonathan. Okay. So,
Priority besides the heat would be finishing up everything exterior. It's
everything.
gonna be
that's the
different
goal.
crews, different equipment, and if they were to come back in 3 years' time, having those people come back for a small thing would not be, not cost efficient.
Right, right.
So,
Gotta get everything taken care of that we can, right?
So I'll have Jonathan go ahead with that and I'll organize that with him because it's all at my house. And I'll have him do the wheel because I think him going through the wheel, he knows how the wheel has to
Yeah, if he's
present itself.
able to call it structurally sound, that's obviously great. I'm
Yeah.
confident that I'm still, it's like, what, 200 years old, and it's wood?
Yeah.
It's like, I wonder if there's just to price out maybe a new wheel. Just maybe it's steel or something and it just lasts longer, but that's still more money. Unless the lead treatment, lead abatement of that wheel is also a lot, then maybe it's not that
Right,
different.
Yeah,
yeah.
so I'll talk to him about it when he grabs it
Yeah,
and see what he
Should we-
thinks, because
should
he
we
can
be checking?
probably
Just a
look at it
question.
and
So
say,
should we be looking for an alternative?
Yeah.
And metal would be a good alternative.
yeah,
No, Darren's already built the new stand.
yes,
to hold it
that's
on.
all. ready to
Is he
go.
gonna want that with the bell down there?
The-
When he takes the bell, is he gonna want that stand?
I can find
You
out,
might ask
because
him.
I know that the stand is over here.
Correct,
So if he's here, I can,
cause I don't know if he's gonna need that
yeah.
portion to test fit
To
it
do
or
what he's gotta
or
do.
do
So
whatever
as
he's
I
gotta do.
organize this with Jonathan, I'll find that out.
Yeah.
All right, status on the removal of the large pine trees?
So
What's
I
your
met with
thoughts?
the kid from Fornier. And, so right now he is figuring out, what's going to, need to happen. Here it is. So he said, we're feeling out logistics with the fairgrounds about access and how we can do things. And of course, I made sure that he knew that if we had to get approval from the hall trustees, because we actually oversee Cumston Park. And he said, the easy, cheap route is to go down there with an excavator and fell them with some convincing onto the grounds.
Right.
But we have a fence to deal with a fence, and by the looks of it, there's a sewer pipe that runs through there. Bringing in a cable crane to assist would be the fastest and least impactful, but will add expenditure. Our crane less so, but slower. Climbing a lot slower and not really going to be an option. And I said, oh yeah, they have RV hookups on the fence that's this way. As opposed to the fence that's this
That
way.
way.
There is a sewer line that runs down behind there too. There's a manhole right off the corner of the
Mhm.
building up here and the line runs down outside that fence, maybe 20 or 30 feet.
Really?
Yeah. It's like an 8-inch sewer line. When Paul Roop and I were looking around, we traced that line down. But I mean, it's below ground, 4 or 5 feet, I can't imagine that would be.
That would be a problem, but I think that on this, the fence of the fairgrounds has like a sewer hookup for RVs on it.
Oh, out on the roadside.
It's on the roadside, but I'm not sure how long it comes this side. So if I work with, this kid's name is Peacock.
Mhm.
Do you know him?
I
I
don't,
think his name is Scott Peacock. He's a Monmouth grad that works for Fournier, and he's who I met and walked around up here and looked at these. I mean, the biggest things I'm worried about are these back pines that have already fallen down and how we
Mhm.
survived that was a miracle that they didn't get that new roof. So,
is the removal of those trees the committee's responsibility or is that a town issue? I mean, is it up to the committee to pay for that?
I think it's part of the grounds, isn't it? Wouldn't you think that? What's your impression of that?
Town property.
Yeah.
Town-owned trees on town-owned property.
I know,
You know?
yeah.
Would there be a lot of objection for the town doing it?
I think we'd have to coordinate it and talk to Justin about it. I talked to Justin some about the fact that if they took the trees and all the branches and all of that, we could organize with Tony, the public works director, that stuff can go and get to the dump in town trucks. And organize that part of it, but I think we'd have to figure out once Fournier, because I have kind of made it clear to him, we don't have a budget to do this.
Mhm.
And what would you offer us in concessions and donations to do this and get these trees down so we don't have to worry about them with storms destroying something that we just fixed. So I think he's trying to figure out how he can do that. And once I see a number from him and what their plan is, then I can approach Justin about it. Because if Fournier's is generous with us, I don't think we should have, an issue. But it all depends on, because some of those trees are monsters and tall and old. And,
Probably not any value either. I mean, as far as if they took them to a mill or.
as he told me, the big thing right now is there's not a lot of value in those because of where the prices are for pine like that. So there's not a lot of value in that pine right now. Which I told him he's welcome to take whatever
Right.
and have it, whatever they give.
Right.
So we don't want it.
Yep.
We can't do anything with it, So I told him he can take whatever the value of those trees are, so.
How many trees are there?
Counted, I think, 10, right? So
Probably at least that many.
at least.
I never counted them either.
I never counted them either.
Yeah, the number of trees, there's a bunch of
A
them.
bunch of pines, and then the hardwoods, some of that hardwood
Mansions.
some of those hardwoods on the far side, there's no hardwood on this backside, it's all pines, but there's some hardwood over here, so.
Must be somebody in town's got.
Are those we proposed to come down to, or?
Well, I think
Mason up in Wales.
some of them are okay,
They still-
that we could leave there as a buffer, but I think these back ones are our biggest issues
They look like.
with the
pulling
tree.
up somebody's-
Oh, they were, yeah.
We should ask Lori about that maple tree on the north side. It looks like it's dying and it should come down and. Fournier's got all their equipment
Yeah.
here. That'd be the time to take it down.
Down.
And it would really open up that building so people could really see it.
Yes.
Especially the tower.
Exactly, yeah. It's
That's
not
the tree
looking very
right in
good,
the-
right,
Yeah, the-
right,
yeah.
right here, right next to it, so.
Looks pretty sickly.
It does. And I mean, with that gone, that tower would really stand out and so would the building.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So if we took that at the same time, I think it would be a good thing.
yeah. So I'm waiting to hear from him and what they come back with for a proposal.
Yeah.
Do we know everybody in town is gonna saw portable? Or just one big enough to,
Yeah, I think like Pat Smith does.
Yeah,
He's got a portable one.
essentially, they just take that pine to the mill, because they do run trucks to the mill where most of the other tree guys don't bother with that stuff.
Mhm.
yeah,
But Fournier, I think he, what the kids said to me, they do take stuff to the mill. So.
Get ready for supper.
my daughter. I'll call you back. I'm fine, yeah.
So I'm just waiting to hear from him, and I'll let you know as soon as I hear or see what they end up proposing, so. But I made it clear to him, we don't need permission from the fair to do anything unless it impacts something of their property, which it really isn't, so. But I'll keep you posted on that as it gets to me. So
So on to fundraising then.
we had a pretty productive couple of weeks, thanks to Rudy pounding the pavement. So essentially, all of the $2,000 windows are gone. Barbara Cottrell bought 2 for Henry and for Steve Cottrell. And then yesterday, Debbie Johnson Wilgress bought one for her sister Sarah Lou. So that effectively took all of the 8 $2,000 windows. So I made an executive decision for my mother, who bought 2, one for the Sanborn Gilman family and one for my father and my niece, that those will be a joint window.
A joint window.
$4,000 with 2 plaques, and mom's okay with that. I mean, my mother, the big thing is, you know, the fact that she wants to donate money to the project.
Right.
And whether there's 2 plaques on one window for us, that's okay. It's fine. And we're okay with that.
Yeah.
Because she knows where the money's going.
Right.
The 2 small windows, you bought one, and Robert Bragg bought one, Rudy's cousin, for Douglas and Doris Bragg. So the $2,000 windows are gone. So the $1,500 windows are still open.
Okay.
And there's 6 of those, right? There's 4 across the back and then 2 on the sides. So there's 6 of those, and those are still available. So the $1,500 windows are available.
And there's 4 of them.
6.
It's
6.
And
Six.
Chris,
Four across-
did
four
we
across
talk
the back.
about if we should sell those? Are we going to, you know, if more money comes in, you and I kind of discussed, are we gonna tell people that they can like have a plaque over a door? Were we
Yes.
gonna do
And
that?
Yeah, so if we get more $2,000 wants, we can say, well, you can buy a door, because we've got the 2 doors going in, and then we've got the entry doors. So, which will be going into the vestibule, and then the end
Then
doors.
the indoors, so, on the exterior doors.
Yeah, exterior doors. So, and then we've got the doors going into the, because there will be doors that separate the library from the vestibule.
So do
Or,
we
you know,
ask for more money for the ones, the vestibule ones?
I don't,
Or leave it at 2,000? Would that cover it, or would that?
I have
cover
no
half?
idea. Do we know what those doors cost? Were they part of this
Those doors.
most
were
recent
like
one?
4,000 to 5,000.
Yeah. I think we would need to
So,
go for that first
exactly.
doors.
The bigger, the entry doors,
Yeah.
the exterior entry doors, we can say $4,000, if any more come in for that, and then if doors going from the two doors that were the doors in question being
Too
not-
skinny,
Yeah,
right?
too skinny.
Yeah.
Those are probably what are people comfortable with.
Fire chief, fire-
Right. That
Yeah.
won't happen.
What do we think? We want to go, those are 30, they're a standard man size, or are they, I wonder if they're tall?
Those ones will probably be taller than.
They're probably 36 wide.
They're 36 clear, so it'll be 40 probably wide
Okay.
with an inch and a quarter.
Mm,
2 to 3,000.
okay.
Two.
So we did get two more $2,000 wants. We could have those two
Okay,
doors
so those are
going
2,000.
into
Yeah.
hall space. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Is there anything else going in that we can flex to?
Yeah,
We've got
well,
windows, doors.
so we're at 80,000 for 79,999 is, I don't know how we ended up with that, but right now the total is 79,999.
For crying in bed, I'll give you the dollar.
I think it's mainly just weird dollar amounts, like from throws and from the
Right.
furnace, selling that old furnace and just odd dollar amounts there, so.
I'll take the dollar in tomorrow, Chris, because that way next meeting you can say 80,000.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Exactly, I'll pitch I'll pitch the dollar in too if we
I
need
got it.
so.
No, that would make it
Okay.
8001.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to do that, but anyway, and I know that there's still some information getting tossed around down there with people like Tom Oshie and things like that. So there's some people that contacted that we're waiting on, but we had quite a little flurry of activity there from folks, so.
You said Rudy Johnson, he gets things done.
Oh, yeah, and he was beating the bushes and between he and Lori reaching out to and contacting Barbara Cottrell and the other one, Chris Dumaine. He like does his planning of his donations at the beginning of the year, so his 2024 donations have already happened,
Right.
so I think that he'll probably be looking to donate something at the beginning 2025. So. But, so there was some good information and
Awesome.
good stuff happening, so. And then I'll be at Apple Fest in September again. And about every 6 months, Bates Mill reaches out and passes along anything that they sold or so. And then I know you've been pretty busy with,
It's a $25,000 request to Key Bank. Yeah, closed on the 31st and I just got it in on time.
yeah,
Another Androscoggin Bank is going in. Can't remember what I asked for, I think 25,000. They don't give that amount, but they're still gonna ask for it, you never know. And the other one is
Kennebec Savings.
Kennebec Savings.
That's 25 savings.
Their application asked how we recognize their donations. And didn't have an answer for that.
I just always say you'll be on a plaque
Yeah, okay.
and you'll be mentioned in any of our
Advertisements.
advertisements as well,
Good.
so.
So that's out there. So and now I have a cost for the bell. I'll get that grant request.
Okay.
I can't believe we'll be turned down from that one, but you never know.
Exactly.
So with those three, plus that.
Steve, are there grants out there for like a warming center for communities? I know Tim McDonald thought there was some out there, and people I've talked to that were kind of doubtful about the project. As soon as I said it could be used as a warming center, that really seemed to change their opinion.
Well, I think,
A lot of the grants look at either teenagers or seniors.
Okay.
Have not seen anything of centers. Definitely continue to look.
I'll
I
ask
get-
Tim
I get,
McDonald where,
Like monthly grant application stuff, mostly come federal, but I'm focusing on
And-
nonprofits.
And I know that there's been an initial discussion with Angus King for congressional
Yes, right.
directed funding. So that, of course, ends up being 2025 has already happened.
right.
So we'll have to be reaching out to Susan Collins and Angus King for any congressionally directed funding. When that opens up again. And
And I'm going back after Stephen King, which is a February,
yes,
next February.
yeah,
Along with Libra Foundation.
yeah.
And the Alpha Foundation.
And then when this national or the historic preservation stuff
Yes.
comes out in
I
the
haven't heard anything
fall.
from that, but that application's been sent in probably last
And I
2
think
weeks ago.
the question I had for you is when I was reading what's on the referendums for November. Does this, it's national preservation, it's on there as a referendum,
Yeah,
correct?
it is.
So we need to vote yes on the historic preservation referendum.
I was under the impression that it came through the legislature. But
Yes,
maybe it's just through the legislature to put it on the
so
ballot.
to the ballot. With like the flag thing,
Yeah.
because that's on the referendum as well for the flag, the main state flag change.
Yeah, vote no on that.
Mhm.
What's that?
Vote no on 5.
On the
I'm
flag,
campaigning really hard against it.
Yeah.
The flag?
Yeah,
It's really ugly.
it's awful. I have lots of friends that are graphic designers.
And they
I
just
don't
like-
understand. What we have is fine. Covers.
well, I've always
broad.
liked the, you know, the one that the main flag company did, you know,
Cut out.
Yeah.
Tree. It's
Yeah.
very simple.
it's very simple and straightforward, like the license plate's gonna be that essentially, so. Yeah, I mean, his idea about 16 branches for 16 counties and all of that, I get all of that, but you know, anyway.
That's fluff that you make up after.
Exactly,
Exactly.
that's trying to justify the
When you
scribble
write-
that you
As a
just.
designer, I know
Right,
the
yeah.
secrets of the trade.
Yes, that's how like the CMP logo came up. It was just the guy just drawing them and then people liked it. And he's like, well, it's because, and he came up
Yeah,
with
came
all
up
of
with a
these
whole-
bizarre. Yeah,
You gotta sell it.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
now our Facebook page, are we able to keep refreshing that all the
Yes.
time so people can see what we're doing
Exactly, yeah.
and raise money through that?
Yes, and the other thing that's happening right now is, I'm waiting. Because because it hadn't been used, the way to donate through PayPal, which if you don't absorb the cost in your donation, you get less of a donation. That hadn't been used, so the link became obsolete
oh,
essentially. So the link was broken and the link doesn't work to make a PayPal donation, but the town manager has met with Bangor Savings and is meeting with Androscoggin Bank about a way to like take remote payments, like,
Right.
you know, Venmo and all of that stuff through the town. So if you go to the dump and don't have your wallet and you want to throw out a refrigerator or a Freon appliance or a mattress, you can pay them
Right, that-
on your phone with an app. So that is in the process. We're in the process of working that out again, which will be helpful for people because I've had that question. And because the town is a municipality, there is, and I have the information about what it is for a donation, if you want to make an online donation and people want it to be a tax exempt thing. And I have that information as well.
Oh, for-
What that.
Like you would get for
Yes.
501(c)(3).
It's 501(c)(3), but we're not because it's a
You're a
municipality, so. So.
That has been David Heckman has constantly
Oh,
been
I
saying.
know, and I sent him a
Me too.
personal message and tagged him saying, it's tax deductible under 170C1, the Internal Revenue Code made for a public purpose. So,
170(c)(1).
yeah, 170C1. That's what it is. And I put that on the alumni. I put that information out there on alumni, and then Rudy passed it along to Bertha Johnson's daughter, who I think is interested in making
Penny,
donation. Yeah, Penny, making another donation. So, but she wanted this information, I think, for her CPA.
yeah,
Probably let Rudy know about the bell, you know,
Yeah.
donation to a bell.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then
gonna try to reach out to Bill Agresti.
who's that?
He graduated in the early sixties. He's in
Okay.
New York now. And the other
Okay.
person we really need to contact is Rick Preble.
Oh, okay.
Graduated in 74. He is quite well off financially. And he's living out in, I think, Washington. I might have the address. I'll look into that so that we can send him a letter directly.
Yeah, we'll send him something personal,
Yes,
my
yeah,
little boilerplate thing that I sent her to just do small things, so.
Yeah.
But I don't
I'll
know
get-
this other, I mean, I know the Prebbles, of course, for sure.
Yeah,
But, I didn't know the name Bill, what'd you say, Agresti?
Bill Agresti, William Agresti. Oh gosh, I think he graduated in 65, 64, 65.
No wonder I didn't know him.
Help me, Doug. You would know, don't you remember?
No, I started at 65.
Oh, okay, whatever.
And I was born in 67, so.
No, Just,
Just this one.
so I think Rudy was gonna try to reach out and contact him.
Oh, okay, all right. All right, and then, the facade grant isn't gonna happen.
Right.
So, because essentially, and I asked I sent Regan an email and asked her because I wanted a specific
Why?
answer.
Right, what? What's
So,
specific?
this was her response. The reason that the Economic Development Committee denied the application was because the facade grant is intended for businesses and nonprofits to help improve the curb appeal of their buildings. Since the former Academy building is town-owned, it wouldn't qualify as a business in town at this point. It would basically be the town giving itself grant money. The TIF statute doesn't allow for regular TIF funds to be used to improve the appearance of municipal exteriors, so the committee felt it would look like a workaround if the town were to award these funds to itself. And then the other TIF thing that went through municipal buildings was essentially building a new building. So that's that, the TIF money. in municipal buildings.
We tried.
We did try. All they can say is no, right? Which
That's
they
right.
did, but we asked.
Go with an explanation, which is
Yes.
okay.
Which I wanted the explanation from Reagan, so I got it. Not my other friend that gave me the sort of explanation. So that's where we are with those.
Anything else for fundraising? Okay. Then we can move on to voices. We have, I gave everybody the fall design project invoice for July 1 through August 1 is $945, and that's to cover professional designer, professional design work, and then some engineering. $600 for engineering.
I move we approve that and pay it.
And we have a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Larry. All in favor? Your hand up. Thank you. I see the thumbs up.
Thumbs up, okay, all right.
All right, and then the other invoice is Nickerson O'Day. And they're asking this month for $50,439.75. Actually, that's for period ending June 30. The billing for is some work in June for the superintendent, 17 hours, carpenter, 150 hours. We had some material supplies, Hammond, Irving, a few others along those lines. And Carmel Electric is $15,325. $2,400 in project management, equipment, rental and miscellaneous.
That's who it came from. Jake Spencer was who that. Now I know the name and I can search it.
Well, there, okay. That total, again, is $50,439.75. Any questions? Comments? We have a motion to accept this for payment.
Make a motion to accept it.
Thank you, Doug.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Steve. And all in favor? See the thumb from Lori.
All right.
Thank you. Wanna sign that down?
What was the first amount?
Do we have any select board dates, answers, or anything? Select board?
Nothing other than, thank God that's over with. Here's the, for those pictures, I can send you that. So there's the weather vane. And working. Done stuff. This was the original, them putting the posting beam structure back together. Bigger, but there's the weather vane, so I knew I
Oh,
had
you
it.
found
I
it?
did, I knew I had it, so, but I had to have a name to look at, but the weather vane's there along that.
Oh, I
That's
see.
the exterior, the other post and beam frame that they were working on up
Oh,
at the
down
big
here?
courtyard, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Weather vane actually looks good.
Yeah, yeah, I think that they, said it.
Yeah.
Knock it out.
Nice. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Engineering on our bill was from Liam coming up to that point,
Yeah,
Oh,
just so you know.
William?
yeah, Trillium coming up to the planning board meeting.
That's a pretty profitable meeting for him, $600 to say 3 words.
Exactly, yeah,
We like Eric.
yeah.
Well, I
And it
like.
was good backup.
Well, it was good backup, but it was also good for him to affirm to me what was happening at the planning board meeting.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason why we want to have Isabel, who I met, because she came to the Friday nights, truck in the rain, and I let her, she had a tent, I let her use our tent, our pop-up canopy and everything. So I met her, and so I got a chance to talk to her, because I didn't meet her at the National Night Out. I didn't even know she was there, so. So, I got to meet her, and she told me that you pronounce her last name Escher. I asked her, because I said, Isabel, whose name we can't pronounce, and so she told me, and I remember.
Oh, what's her name?
Escher, yeah. The very weird OEISH, it's this weird spelling, but
Yeah.
she is not what I mean, I thought she was gonna be a planner who was maybe my age, but she's not. She's probably in her thirties.
Really?
She's young. Have you met her?
No.
No, so I met her. She's young. She's like in her thirties.
Who is she?
She is working on the comp plan. She's who we contracted to work on the comp plan, and she's also going to be working with the planning board as who you get your applications to, and you work with her first, so that when you go to the planning board, you just go to the planning board
It's all
and
done.
everything's all done and ready.
She's a planner.
Mhm.
What's her last name?
Yeah, sure.
Is she from KB Cog?
No, because they don't have anybody doing that, I don't believe anymore. She is independent and, works for herself. She has her own business.
Business.
Yeah.
Very cool.
When we did an RFP, she was really the only one that came in to do it, right? When we asked for somebody to work with the planning board as for the comp plan, she was the only person that put in her an RFP. So really nice girl too. I liked her a lot. She was very sweet. She's knowledgeable and easygoing, it's just when you have an impression in your mind of who's gonna be a planner working on the comp plan, she just blew my, preconceived idea of who this person was right out of the water, so.
There's a lot of young planners out there.
Yeah,
Pumping them out of the Muskie School. So,
yeah,
Winthrop hired somebody, he's a younger person. Southern Maine is quite a few days. Down south.
yes, oh, yeah, yeah, she was really, really nice, like her.
That's a different world, yeah.
Yeah,
So I got to talk to her and meet her. And I was happy about that, so, and talk to her about the planning board. Right, so you don't have to keep coming back, right, and
Yeah.
pay your engineer to show up
Right.
for, absolutely no reason whatsoever.
how's the planning board accepting that kind of process?
I think that people that needed to accept it are really good about it. Dave and Steve Donald.
Keeps them on the straight.
Yeah, I think that they were the ones, they're really happy, because Steve said that they had some big projects coming before them and needed help. And so I think that's a good sign.
That's good.
Bet she wasn't right before ours.
Mhm.
Did she complain that there's no zoning in the town?
No, she didn't say anything to me about that. She didn't say. anything. We didn't talk about that, so we kind of just talked to you.
Okay, the next item is setting the time and agenda for the next meeting, and based on the next two the September select board meetings are on the 4th and the 18th, I suggest maybe we go for the 9th. There's also, the first Monday is, Labor Day. Yeah. So is everybody all good for the 9th? We'll be here.
Easter.
Oh, that day, really?
You look at the
I'll
town
watch it.
calendar. So,
I think the select board's on the 4th and the 18th.
yeah, 4th, 18th, the 9th, there's nothing on the 9th, so
Okay.
September 9th.
All right. At 6.
Lori, are you good with that, ma'am?
Yes, I am. I start back to work, for the election on the 11th down at City Hall in Lewiston.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that works.
Okay, good.
All right.
Good, good.
Okay.
As it looks of it, we have no public. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you, Larry. A second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Steve? All in favor?
That's good.
Thank you, Lori. Thanks, Lori.
Okay, so just remember that I get on the email next time.
Yes, I'll make sure. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I sent it to my estimator.
And I'm like, I think I have,
Cause she's got her email address.
Oh,
It's Todd,
yeah.
Lori, so
Yeah.
I clicked.
yeah, so I was looking at the calendar and I said, I think we have a meeting, but I've seen nothing come across.
So
Okay.
I will check next time to make sure.
Thank you. Good night,
Yeah, but it's
everybody.
getting,
Night.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little slower time of year.